Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to another rendition of the Residence Life Speaker Series. This program is being brought to you by Residence Life and Housing Services. My name is Justin Brown. I'm here with my co-host,
Leah Paulson.
and today we are here with the amazing, talented, and athletically driven, invincible himself, Vince Papale. All right, he's the
Hey,
former.
what's up? Hi, Rams. How y'all doing? Hey, fly, Eagles, fly, right?
Yeah. Well, obviously he needs no introduction. He's a former professional American football player. You know, he played for our amazing Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL. He's got a movie that is out. If you haven't seen it, it's called Invincible. We're going to talk about that. It's actually playing this Friday on ESPN. He's in other things as well. The Ride, that was in 2009. And then you were also in another movie in 2010, right? Bazaar of All Nations. I did my research, Vince.
The Bazaar of All Nations. You're kidding me. That was down in Clifton Heights, right? Yeah, Upper Darby. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah, welcome everybody to Jupiter, Florida. I'm down here with my family, my wife Janet, son Vinny, who I'm real excited about saying just signed with the Montreal Alouettes in the Canadian Football League.
Nice.
And that scratch was the top of my nose, not the bottom of my nose. And and my daughter Gabriella is down here as well with us. If anybody's been to a 76ers game and you've seen the entertainment, whether it goes up on the big screen up over top, or whether Matt Cord or Christian's announcing on the PA, the music, the dancers, the entertainment, my daughter Gabriella, she runs all that. She's the manager for it. So she's actually working full time with the Sixers, but like you're sort of shut out of where you are, and she's shut out of their offices. So she's working down here, and Vinny's chasing his dreams. So, so it's not a bad place to be right now.
No, not at all. The weather down there is nice.
A little bit spectacular. I would piss you off if I spun the computer around and you saw what I'm looking at right now. So we'll just sort of keep it at that. And there it is. You know, that's my guy. That's my man, Mark. And I actually just about 5 minutes ago, I just got a text from Mark. We're very, very close, and we did a thing yesterday to promote the showing of the movie for ESPN, and I just wanted to thank him for his generosity of time and also just his emotion. He's such a positive guy. He's really cool. When you think about somebody to make your movie, that's your man.
Absolutely. Now, Vince, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you and I have met before. You probably don't recognize my face, but it's okay because I'm bringing it up for you now. Do you see it?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you were doing a spotlight series at the link, and there you were up there. I believe you were with, if I can pull this up really quickly. Oh, I turned my screen off here. Let me see if I can pull this back up. You were with Mike Quick doing a segment.
Mm-hmm. My man, Mike.
In the Spotlight series, and y'all did such a great job with this series. I don't know if
oh my gosh, yeah, wasn't Carmichael up there too? Yeah, they're sitting right in the middle.
Yeah, and it was a great time. You're a great person. You had some really good insight, and I was like, man, we got to bring this guy to Westchester. So while I did not get you to sign my DVD, which we're going to talk about that today, everybody, if you haven't seen this movie, it's an incredible movie. Vince is played by Mark Wahlberg. You have to see this movie. You did sign a picture for me, but I got to get this DVD signed. So we're gonna make that happen. So tell us what's on your shirt. I think that's a cool thing. Tell us about what's on your shirt.
This is a thing called Who's Nuts International. I have, if you Google me up, you'll see a shirt somewhere where it says Who's Nuts on it, Invincible. If you don't know it, I was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I was primarily known as the head hunter, a kamikaze kid, samurai, were my nicknames, and actually I was a special teamer. And if you made a really big hit on somebody, if you saw the movie Invincible and that play at the end where I caused a fumble and ran the ball in for a touchdown and we won the game, I would have, because I made that play, instead of getting a game ball, maybe I would have gotten a game ball, but on special teams, they would have given me a t-shirt that says Who's Nuts, right? Yeah. So it was this thing, basically what it was a reward that you got for making a big hit. And they used to have bounties back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s. Let's say if you knocked a quarterback out, they might give you a $200 or $300 bounty. They might give you a TV. Whatever it could have been a stereo, a boombox, whatever was huge back then in the 70s, right? So that was certainly outlawed. So the bounty that we got was the T-shirt, and it was created by my special teams coach Ken Hyman, and he played for the St. Louis Cardinals back in the day for about, oh my God, 15, 16 years. So we're playing a game against the Cardinals in St. Louis, and I had just taken I just took a cheap shot on the punter. I was pissed off because we were losing. It was the end of the game, and who cared if we got a penalty? I didn't care if I get fined. I wanted to get somebody and get even. So I just drilled the guy, and I got a 15-yarder. And I'm on the bench, and I was getting stuff thrown at me from the stands behind me, because the stadiums back then, they actually went the seats went all the way down to the front row. So you could literally leap over, like a baseball stadium. You could leap over just that little fence at field level. So this guy jumps over the fence, and he Papale, and I turn around. I thought I was going to get slammed in the back of my ear, and here he gave me this T-shirt, and he says, "Welcome to the club, Who's Nuts International." So it's sort of like a fraternity, without the Greek letters, but it's a special fraternity for all us bomb squatters, headhunters, whatever they called us for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I got 7 of them. And
that's nice. So you got to earn that shirt. You just can't go get it. You got to earn it.
You can't buy them. You can buy the other Who's Nuts on my website, papale.com. But, it's sort of funny because I never really wore it around. And then my son Vinny saw me in it the other day. And I like wearing it because it's gray. And when I sweat, it sweats through. It makes you look really badass, So he says, "Hey, man, where'd that shirt come from?" And here I don't think I've worn it for about 25 or 30 years. But I figured I'd break it out for my Westchester Rams.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Westchester University?
I think I've been there. Let's see. I think I might have done my graduate degree there.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Yeah. Back then it was Westchester State Teachers College.
Oh, wow.
And I was teaching anybody here from Delaware County or the Philly area. If Lee, I see your hand pop up. And so I grew up in Glen Old and went to Interborough High School and then to St. Joe's College. Then I was on a track scholarship. And then I went back to Interborough and I taught for 6 years, head track coach, assistant football coach. And in between that and becoming a Philadelphia Eagle, I was working on my master's degree in counseling at Westchester. So what I did, it was my 6th year of coaching. So I decided to retire from the coaching position. And so I could dedicate myself to training for a potential shot in the Olympic decathlon trials, because I thought I was pretty good. So I decided I was going to do that and train at Westchester. And while I was training, the head track coach there asked me if I would coach the jumpers at Westchester, and I wound up coaching the pole vaulters, triple and long jumpers, and training for decathlon, working on my master's, and then I took a shot at my dream in '76. So my sister Janice was graduated from there in '64, and she went on and taught for many decades. But so Westchester's in the blood. I just love it there, and it's changed.
Yeah.
So
well, listen, if you haven't been back in a while, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, the rat's gone. It's gone.
Yeah, I heard.
But it's okay though. Listen, if you haven't been back on campus for a while, by show of hands, how many of you think that we should have Vince on campus? All right, we got a lot of hands. So if we're back in the fall, we would love to make this happen with you.
Well, you're going to be back in the fall. It has to happen. You have to think positive.
There you go.
So I'm there. I would just love. I haven't been out on campus in 5 or 6 years. Although I've driven by there many times. And Coach Vermeil, my coach Vermeil, doesn't live too far from there, right outside, right in Coatesville, right around Coatesville.
Yeah, that's where I was born and raised.
No kidding.
In Coatesville. Yep.
No kidding. Are you serious? You went to Coatesville High?
I did. I'm a Red Raider class of 2007.
Oh, dude, man, they had some great track athletes there.
Oh yeah, they do. It's a big sports town for it.
Great sports town. A lot of great athletes. Between there and Downingtown, that whole area is pretty cool.
Yeah, we got some national champions out of here too.
Yeah, just 1 or 2.
Yeah, he's right. All right. Well, Vince, we're going to jump in for a few questions for some of our students. They're going to be able to interact with you directly. And our first question is for Nick. Nick, go ahead, unmute yourself, and you can go ahead and ask your question.
What's up, Mr. Papale? It's a pleasure hearing you speak a little bit here.
Thanks, Nick. Where you at?
I'm in Bucks County. I'm about 25 minutes outside of Philly.
Yeah, what town? What high school did you go to?
I went to Conwell League, and I'm in Fairless Hills.
Oh, you are? Okay, sure. Know it well. All right.
Small Catholic school. Not many people know it.
Yeah, well, if you know Bishop Eustace Prep and Cherry Hill Pennsauken, that's where my kids went. Our kids went. So
Okay.
what's the question? What do you got for me?
So it's like a two-part question. How accurate is or was Invincible the movie, and that kind of regarding the challenges before making the team, because a big part of that movie was, the challenges you face with friends and family trying to make the team and the build up to that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking that, Nick. I'll go with the challenges first because I got them from all angles. And a lot of times in life, you're going to get them no matter what you're trying to do, especially if you're going to do something that's a little bit out of the box or above the norm, whatever it might be. And in my case, of course, I was trying to do something nobody had ever done before. It was a free agent tryout. I was 30, didn't play college football, blah, 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 blah. So there were the doubters and there were the people that were telling me it was too risky. And the way I always choose, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let the noise affect me because they're pissed off or resentful because they're insecure, and that insecurity is fueled by, to me, jealousy. So and the way I looked at it, and this is just me at that point, that just pissed me off to no end, and it just drove me to go any harder, Nick. So, and you look like an athlete, and I bet you get that. So the other side of the movie, they always ask, is your wife still a Giants fan? How accurate is the movie? They captured the journey, and that's what I wanted to have them do. They all the football stuff and all whatever you saw on all the fields that actually happened, the way it happened, and the way I was treated by my teammates, and that eventually accepted by my teammates, was right to the money. Mark and I was telling off screen to Justin, I was interviewing with Mark on ESPN yesterday, and we were talking about that same thing, preparing for the show on Friday night. We were preparing for that same thing. So what they did do is they took me from being a full-time school teacher, made me a part-time bartender and a substitute teacher, which I was doing at the time because I had to try out, and then I had 4 months instead of 4 days to get to training camp. So they told me I could train at the vet back then. So I stopped teaching, and they put me on a leave of absence. They said, get this out of your system, like I'm not going to make it, and you'll have a job waiting for you next year at Interborough. And so that's what I was doing. And the other thing is we had to get, and this is really important because you're going to understand if you're in any kind of business, we always hear about intellectual property and branding rights. Well, we wanted to be able to say that we could be the Philadelphia Eagles, not the Philadelphia Turkeys. So we really needed the NFL's endorsement. They then in turn says, okay, here's the compromise. And, I think there's that great country song out there called Meet Me in the Middle. So we met in the middle, and the NFL made my wife a Giants fan instead of what she really was. And at that time, and she afterwards, she was a world-class gymnast on the USA World Gymnastics team. And then she coached at the University of Pennsylvania, went to Penn State, and after an injury ended her gymnastics career, she went on to dive for Penn State and set all her diving records. So we, she's my lady of 26 years, and we have two beautiful kids, Gabby and Vinny. So I hope I answered your question, Nick. But man, as far as I'm concerned, they nailed it. Couldn't have a better guy than Mark Wahlberg, having played me, because he really trained hard and worked with me to get himself prepared for the challenge. And it was a challenge to do what he had to do to morph himself into an NFL player, and he did a great job. What's that badass thing you have? Is that a speaker you have behind you? Where's that thing over your shoulder, Nick?
Which way? Here or this side?
Big old TV.
Oh, that's the TV. Okay. Oh, I see his closet. Yeah, we'll have to check out, see what kind of dude he is,
And I'm kind of exposing myself here.
That's all right. You got a badass hat and shirt on, so it's all good.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thanks
you're
for my
welcome.
question, Vince. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Nick. Great job. Appreciate it, man. Good luck.
That is one athletic family. Dang, you got you and your wife, and man, both your
Yeah,
kids.
the kids, they all played sports. Gabby was an athlete at Bishop Eustace and wound up cheering there, competitive cheering, and then she cheered at Syracuse when she went there, which was cool. And Vinny was 4 or 5 different sports until he settled in on lacrosse and football.
That's awesome. Nice. So we have our next question, I believe, is from Jack Marinello. So Jack, if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, Vince.
Hey, Jack, what's up?
How are you today?
Doing great. I like all your banners in the background. You're
Yeah,
Philly fan all
my
the way
dad
back.
was a season ticket holder, so he collected them over the years. Our whole
That's
entire
cool.
basement's Eagles theme.
Oh,
So
I love it. This looks really cool. Yeah, good job.
it's awesome speaking to you today. But my question is, so kind of based off the last question, is in Invincible, they have the scene where you're breaking the news to your one best friend about making the team, and then it cuts to the scene to the bar with you celebrating with all your friends and family. So like, can you talk about like, is that exactly how it went down, and like, can you word it any differently? Like, how did it
Well,
actually
yeah, I can
break
tell
it
you.
down?
I can tell you the real story. And see, when I get out and speak, I do this thing called the real and the REEL story and REAL story. You know, the Disney story, and the real story. Everybody has probably heard of or seen Rocky, and many of you have seen Miracle and the Rookie, and then Rudy. And Rudy, in his movie, he found out that he was accepted to Notre Dame, which was a long shot. He came out of the service and he gets accepted at Notre Dame, and he makes a phone call to his father, who was working in the shops, and everybody's erupting in the background. That same thing happened to me. And I made that phone call to my father, but they weren't allowed to use that scene because they would have called it a Rudy moment. And the way I found out that I made the team, actually, I was on the field and they didn't even tell me I made the team yet. We were stretching for the Cowboys game, the first game of the year. And Coach Ramil came up to me and he says, "Hey, congratulations, old man. You're a Philadelphia Eagle. Welcome to the team." And I went crazy and I said, "Oh, can I make a phone call?" And he started laughing. He says, "What, are you going to have a press conference?" I said, "No, I got to call my dad." And I called my dad at Westinghouse. He worked, if you know the river right by the airport, there's a whole bunch of plants there. Westinghouse was one. And my dad worked there. And I got through to him and they just erupted. So that was the way he found out. And then I went right from there to Max's, where the bar was. That's a real place. It's in Prospect Park on Chester Pike. It's now called the Tumble Inn, right at Route 420 in Chester Pike, if you know Delaware County. And we went to Max's and we just literally set our hairs on fire. And that's where it was. And everybody came in. And it was so great because it was, you know, my dad, and of course he was there. He's in the neighborhood. All the guys that I played rough touch with, a lot of my students, guys I went to high school with. It was a great party. So that's how that all came together. And they created that scene with the car, which was really a great scene. I loved it. And it was a great segue from going there into, okay, how are we going to get ourselves to the party? And there's a lot of things that I find out that Disney does that they call it a play. Does it play well with the audience? And that scene played really good with the audience. So yeah, you're the first time anybody's asked me about that part of the movie. Somebody remind me to tell me about my kids in the movie too. That's pretty fun. Yeah, but thanks. Hey, where'd you go to high school?
I actually went to Pope John Paul in Royersford.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I live up in Pottstown.
I've been around for a long time, man. I know pretty much all Delaware Valley. I live in Cherry Hill now, but grew up, and my wife Janet went to Northeast High School. And actually, when we were training for the movie, we trained for the movie for 2 weeks. All the football players were Arena Football League players and former NFL players that were in the movie. Anybody that was in the touch football scenes, they were all first responders. So we trained at Northeast High School for 2 weeks right before the 4th of July in 2004 when we shot the movie. No, 2005. And so, yeah, I know a little bit of Philly.
So Vince, when you're in the Philadelphia area, I mean, how often do you get recognized? I'm sure, like, wherever you're at, people are like, "There's Vince, there's Vince."
Well, Justin, let me just say this. I don't buy too many beers in Philadelphia.
Okay.
It's pretty remarkable, very recognizable. Even down here, I'm out on the road. It's pretty amazing that somebody might come up and they're not from Philly, because they've seen the movie and the movie's so darn popular. So to me, it's just, I'm still pinching myself. It's crazy.
Wow.
So it's all good. Just the thing is, it's just never respect everybody and stay humble. And that's why I love Mark Wahlberg so much, because he's so totally humble.
Well, I know if you ever ran into, I'm going to show you something real quick, because if you ever ran into my dad, he would definitely buy you a beer, because when he was 12, He sent, this is an autograph. He sent you a photo and you sent it back to him. And
Oh my
he still
God.
has this. He just sent it to me the other day. So,
Jerry, oh
you
my
know,
God,
Jerry
so
Paulson
cool.
out there, he'll definitely buy you a beer if you ever run
Oh,
it.
thanks. What'd you think of the haircut? That was pretty snazzy, wasn't it?
Right? That's a nice photo
Yeah,
back
that was
there.
the old bang look. Then eventually, you know, it was
You come back to campus, they'll roll out the red carpet for you. There may not be
Absolutely.
a rat, but you know.
I know, you know. There was a tear in my eye when I found out the rat. See, our training camp was at Widener, and then after I got retired in '79, then they moved the training camp moved to Westchester, and then from there went to Lehigh. And now it's
Yep.
back. All the teams they do it at their training facilities.
It's so funny because I went to Lehigh University and I
Oh,
work now
okay.
at Westchester, so I have a lot of connections to the Eagles. Plus, I'm
Oh,
from
there
this
you go.
area, obviously,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, so it's super cool.
Great.
So I think our next question is from Tommy Williams. So go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Vince. I just want to thank you first for like coming here and speaking to us. You've been awesome so far.
Oh, thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it. Where are you from?
I'm actually from the same place as Nick, basically.
Okay.
I grew up in Levittown. His high school actually shared the same football field as my high school.
Okay.
He-
Cool.
High school. So I'm from Truman, Levittown.
All right. Oh, sure.
So yeah, but I loved hearing about the tradition of your special team standouts getting a shirt. Like my high school had a similar tradition, but that leads into like, what were some of your favorite traditions in the NFL?
Well, you know, one of them, which is, and it leads to the story, if I can, about my kids being in the movie. One of the traditions I had in the movie, I didn't realize I had as many advocates as I had. But a lot of the guys that were really cheering for me, they wanted to make sure that I was for real, that I wasn't this plant. I wasn't trying to write a book, do a news story or something like that. So they were cheering for me because I was knocking some of the guys around that they didn't really care for, that were posers. And then, so anyway, one of my big things was before every game, Dennis Franks, and this is one of my advocates in the movie. He's the guy that taught me the knuckle thing, and he's my best friend. He lives in the Charlotte area now, and he's the godfather of my children. And Dennis taught me that. So what we did is, and we wrote a book called The Last Laugh. It was all about that big hit made at the end of the game. So what we used to do before the game is I had a really cool Datsun 280Z, and it had T-tops, and I'd take the T-tops off, and we'd put Santana on, and he had this, if you know that song, right, from Santana. And we would ride through the streets of South Philadelphia, AKA the Rocky Run, but we would do it in my car with the music as loud as could be. And then as we were going, then we would get down to the river area, and I would just juice it up as fast as it goes, 100, 110 miles an hour along the river, and just ride it into the stadium area. And then right next to the stadium, there's the park, and there was a bunch of fields there. And so I said, come on, let's just get right through the park before we go into the stadium. We're going to be playing the Redskins that day. And it's about 10 o'clock, and we don't have to be in the stadium until about 10:30, 11 o'clock to get taped up. And then we go out for pregame stretch at 12. So all games, by the way, were pretty much either on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. Sunday at 12 and 4. 1 and 4 or Monday night. So we decided to go past that park, and there's this kid that's out there on the in the field, and he's got number 83 stenciled on his T-shirt, and I've got the 3-day beard, the sunglasses, that like that Nick had that hat on. I got a hat like that, got the thing all turned around, looking, I'm trying to look real rough and tough for the game, and then you put the eye black on, you sort of look like you're ready for battle. So I said to Dennis, I said, dude, let's stop. I got to go out and have a catch with this kid. And I go and I'm starting having a catch with him. And I said, do me a favor, throw me a couple bombs. And I run under him, just catch it. And he says, damn, if I didn't know any better, I swear that was Vince Papale. You were Vince Papale. And I took my hat off and my glasses. The kid almost fainted. He was about 8 or 9 years old. And I said, I'm going to do a hit. I'm going to dedicate this hit to you. And I hit a guy at the end of the game, caused a fumble, and we went on to beat the Redskins. They came in 7-0. And that was the one that led to my children being in the movie. But that was the biggest. Or if we would go to another stadium, we would be the first one on the team bus to go. And as soon as we got into the stadium, Dennis and I would just go out and we'd sit on the 50-yard line in the stands and somehow get into the stands, sit on the 50-yard line and just sort of visualize the game from the fans' perspective and just see everything. And they'd be practicing the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, the cheerleaders would be there, the bands would be there. And it was pretty special for me because I never played in big time stadiums before. I was mostly just high school stadiums. So it was pretty cool.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great question. Thanks.
Vince, where were you when the Eagles won the Super Bowl? Because I feel like it's one of those things that everybody knows where they were. So tell us about where you were and where you took it in all.
Well, I was in the corner of the end zone with my son and daughter and Janet. We got there. The game started like 6 o'clock or whatever. We were one of the first ones actually to walk in the stadium. And we just kept walking around the stadium because it was mostly all Eagles fans. It was great. So we watched the game. The Eagles got us tremendous seats in the right in the corner of the end zone on the first overhang level, which was really cool. And that's where we saw the game. And it was fantastic. And I got some great pictures of being there and after the game. And before the game, we were actually at the Mall of America because we took the train into the stadium. It was very difficult to drive in there. So they had these train runs and you could park for nothing at the Mall of America and just go for a few bucks in on the train. And we're walking around the mall and there's a Wahlburgers there. And I said, oh, I wonder if Mark's here. So I texted him. I said, dude, if you're here in Minnesota, you better be wearing 83 and not 12. And 12's Tom Brady, right? Because he's a Boston kid and he's from and he's a big Patriots fan. So about 2 minutes later, what I did, we took a picture of all of us in front of Wahlburgers and then I sent it to him. 2 minutes later, my phone's ringing and I look down and it's FaceTime and it's Mark Wahlberg. And he was in Bogota, Colombia. And here he was filming Mile 22. So he grabbed all in the shoot, in the middle of the shoot, he says, hey, it's Papale. He says, come on over. And everybody came over and I got to meet everybody that was filming Mile 22 while we was shooting
so cool.
one of those scenes, which was pretty cool. So we watched the game there and celebrated like everybody else. It was a great parade and they made us part of the parade. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. I made my way down to Broad Street in Philly that night, so it was awesome.
It was pretty fun. It was pretty chaotic. Yeah.
Yeah.
As it should be.
My friend and I got to the Philadelphia Art Museum steps. I don't know how we did it, but we did. He had a broken foot. He was on a scooter. I think people just felt bad for him, and they just moved out of the way. I was just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm helping him out. People let me go. There was no cell service anywhere, so getting out of this city was crazy. But what my friend and I did was we heard Jason Kelsey's speech over the speaker, but we didn't stay for it. We left. We walked maybe about 5 blocks to the left. We were able to get some coverage, and we Ubered right out of the city. There wasn't a car on the street. It was a straight shot out of the city. So.
Oh yeah, and it's funny you say that too, because Justin, it was the same for us. After the ceremonies was over, we were going to go to a private event. It was going to be at the Ritz-Carlton at the end of the Parkway. So Dennis and me, and I'm going to meet my family there because they had us right up. My family was right up there in the front, but we were doing some post-game stuff and getting pictures and all that crap. So as we're walking, there was like everybody was walking out. There was nobody. It wasn't a fight. I mean, there was no violence.
No, it was great. Cool thing. Not a lot of pee, but no fighting. No.
Yeah, it was one of my proudest moments to be a Philadelphian, an adopted Philadelphian. I'm still a Delaware County.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I think we have a couple more questions for you before we let you go. So
I'm
Coral,
fine. I know you have somebody else that might be coming. We're cool. Let's see. Are you? I'm muted by the host. Okay.
No. You're good.
Okay.
Did you mute him, Justin?
I was trying to pull up his screen. But listen, I sent you that link, so if you want to jump on to the next one, you are welcome to.
Right, okay, I might just, but you know what? I won't. If I jump, I don't. I'll just be there. It's not show.
I'll try. I won't say anything. We'll see. Okay. It'll be funny to see if he recognizes you. See if he's.
All right.
Yes. So Coral, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I just want to thank you for coming on and speaking with us. This is awesome.
Thanks, Coral. Where are you?
I'm in Gettysburg.
Oh, you are? Oh, cool.
Yes. It's not about, my question's not about the movie. It's more about you mentioned earlier how your daughter works for the Sixers.
Uh-huh.
I just want to I'm just curious how she got that opportunity. Does she have a sports marketing degree?
Yeah, she does. She had a sports marketing degree. Gabriella is very talented with the camera, and you see her on Instagram and some stuff. She does a few things. She does a chef. She calls herself Chef G. So, but here's how she started. After graduating from Bishop Eustace, which is in our area and a little bit away from Gettysburg, Carl, and then she went to the Syracuse University, and she majored originally in communications, and then after 2 years in communications, she thought maybe I want to try something different. She got into the sports marketing aspect, and while she was doing this, she was cheering, which was really cool. And very involved, in everything that was going on. And it was just the sports, the basketball, especially there, was amazing. So then she goes to Madrid and comes back from Madrid, and then she graduates in 2016. And first thing, you got to go through the intern route, And so a friend of mine is Kaz Venicola. He's a player agent. He represents Patrick Mahomes and Tua, the guy that just got drafted. And he also was one of the owners for the Philadelphia Soul. So he had Gabby. This was in one of the off summers while she was in school. She interned with him. And then Ron Jaworski, my teammate, the next summer had hired her to come in as an intern. She went through the intern route. And then eventually the 76ers, she got an opportunity to intern with the 76ers. And then after she did her internship, she went and traveled and backpacked through Europe for five months with her girlfriend. And in between then, they sent her an email while she was traveling and said, there's a position opening that we thought maybe you would be right for. And she competed against 5 or 6 other people and wound up getting the job. And speaking of the devil, there she is on the other side of the camera. So, and that's how long have you been with the Sixers now, Gabby, full time? Fourth season.
Wow.
Fourth season. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
She worked her way up, and
Hey, Gabby.
real proud. I don't know if she.
How
wants
are
to
you?
Say hi. Come on, Gab.
I heard you.
Yeah. Oh, she heard me. Yeah, Gabby's
I
got.
knew you were talking to Westchester.
Gabby's got ears like a deer. Here she is. This is
Gabby.
my
How are
baby.
you?
Yeah. So Carl, can we put Carl back on? That's you up there.
Carl.
Yeah. So Carl asked the question. So maybe Gabby can answer any questions you have with regard to that.
I was just asking how you got the position at the Sixers.
Oh yeah, so it based off of what was it? Syracuse helped me kind of locate different areas because what I had to do as a sport management major, I needed to what was it? I had to do an internship for a full semester with a professional organization or a team or company that was related to sports. And so Syracuse helped me reach out to some people. I landed it in as a summer intern with the events and hospitality department. I hated it. It was whatever, but I worked really hard and I made my name known throughout the organization with different departments. So my former manager then came to me and said, hey, we think you'd be great for game presentation. I had no idea what that was, but essentially it's behind the scenes of what goes into all the entertainment aspects of the game besides the actual game itself. So timeouts, music, video, all that fun stuff. And so I interned there for a year and my dad said, left and traveled for 6 weeks. And then they said a position opened up and what was it? Interviewed as a 5 or 6 round interview process. It came down to between me and the girl I had interned with for the past year. And she was there for a full year prior. And I ended up getting the position because I showed more, what was it? They said I showed more promise and I grew more in that 1 year than she had grown in those 2 years. And I was very adaptable and I was somebody that they could really teach and I was willing to learn. So they liked that about me and I got the position and here I am as a manager. So 4 seasons.
Hey, can I ask a question, Gab? Tell Carl and everybody there, because I'm sure they have a lot of people that, that really interested in what you did. It's a couple of the places you traveled and then also the NBA All-Star game. How about those couple experiences?
Yeah, so we did NBA London and NBA China. So what was it? It was January of 2018. Went to London and helped produce our games over there against the Dallas Mavericks. And then what was it? And then September, October of 2019 went to China and helped produce our games over there. And then I was selected for the past 2 years to go to the NBA All-Star Game. So this past season, I was selected as a lead stage manager. So I basically helped facilitate all of the entertainment that was going on behind the scenes for the Rising Star Game, the All-Star Saturday Night Game, and the NBA All-Star Game on Sunday, which was really, really cool. And then the year before that, I was an entertainment lead. So I basically helped to oversee all the entertainment teams that were there externally from all the other teams. And so helped to organize their schedules and helped with like choreography things, which is really cool. But this year was more of a promotion, and I had a big hand in putting on some really cool stuff and really high stress stuff, and had LeBron James trying to listen to me for things, which was pretty cool, and some of the best players in the world. So it was a really cool experience, and it wouldn't have happened if I, it's making yourself known and putting your head down and working really hard, because they noticed me that first year and thought I deserved a bigger role, and I got
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. How can they follow you on social media? Say they have some follow-up questions for you. They just want to connect.
So on Instagram, it's just Gab Papale. LinkedIn is Gabriella Papale with 2 L's. Happy to answer any questions, jump on a call with anybody who has any questions about getting into the sports industry or anything like that in general. Just wants to know about my past.
Well, we're gonna bring you too. We're having your father said, hey, look, we're gonna be back here in the fall. I'm trusting his word. So when he comes, we want you to come as well. As a dual, we'll bring you both. I think you have great wealth of knowledge, and I think a lot of our students who are trying to get into that industry, I think you would have some really great pointers and tips for them.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I would be happy to be there. So yeah, we could do a little duo team thing.
That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool. My baby.
Vince, how do they follow you on social media? So say someone's like, I want to follow you and figure out what you're doing. How do they do that?
Your social media.
Yeah, that's it. I know. I'm 83 Invincible on Twitter, Vince Papale 83 on Instagram, and I think I'm maxed out on as VINCEPAPALE, and I'm maxed out on Facebook. And don't message me because I don't message back.
Yeah, you don't even know how to do it.
I know. Gabby has to. I just found out today. Gabby doesn't know it, but she's because I'm right. One of the things I'm doing a lot of cyber events, and I've been told, the guy says, when you're 13 years as a speaker, do you have a YouTube channel? I said, huh? So Gab doesn't know, but I'm going to ask her to set up a YouTube channel for me.
Well, listen, we were blessed that we got in contact with you, because I was like, I don't know if he's going to respond to this.
Ah, you kidding me? This is great.
Yeah. He did so well. I was so excited.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we have time for any more? You got to go to Doc.
No, Leah's got a couple more.
2 more. Yeah, so we definitely have time. So
yeah, that's right. Thank you. By the way, Carl, that was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, hi.
Oh, hi. I was just wondering, in modern day NFL, obviously I assume you watch a lot of football. Like, who's your favorite player as of right now?
Well, let's see. My favorite player right now. I guess, oh man, it's got to be Jason Kelce.
Okay.
He is not, he's not in a glamorous position, but let me tell you something. That guy is the heart and soul of our team. And like you were saying, Justin, when he got up there and he just went off, that was so Philly. And it was perfect. And it wasn't scripted. His brother got up there, when they won out there in Kansas City and tried to be cute and tried to be scripted. Jason just got up and just let it rip. And if you watch how much he hustles and the injuries that he's overcome and the position he has to play, he's the quarterback. And to me, he's the grit of that team, and he's the glue in the locker room. So that's my guy, and more than those glamorous positions. But I like the special teams guys, anybody that plays special teams, but Kelsey's my man. I love that kid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
He hangs around here in Westchester. His wife, he just got married within the last, 4 years?
Yeah.
His wife worked at a position here at Westchester, and she didn't tell that many people that, her fiance was Jason Kelce.
Oh, how about that? Oh, cool.
But he has some friends in this area, and I was supposed to meet him, and I missed it, but I left my my picture there, and he ended up signing it anyway. So
yeah, he's
class act.
Yeah, he is all the way. Yeah, never turns away from anybody. I like him a lot. So
He's got a whole lot of personality too. That
Oh, he's
mummer's
got-
outfit and the
he's got all that.
absolutely. So Juan Kim, go ahead and ask your question.
Hey,
Hi,
how you
Juan.
doing, sir? It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, buddy.
I guess my question for you is, what kind of wisdom can you pass down for, our generation of students in terms of, emotional, mental, and physical, and even spiritual? Have you made any mistakes that you feel like you regretted that, that maybe you could have avoided yourself?
Yeah, that's pretty deep question, and I'll answer that first part, that last part first. Yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've hurt some people, and I feel real bad about that. And it was a period in my life when I was going through whatever it was I was going through. I always tried to be a nice person and thought I was doing the right thing, but in some ways I hurt people, and I regret that. And I feel bad about it. And I tried to atone for it and make up for it. So, but you know what, you got to move forward, as anybody knows. And you got to do that, from the hard work perspective, because my mom and dad, here's just a little bit of a background. My mom and dad were both immigrant parents, and my mom from English background. My grandfather was a coal miner in England, and my other grandfather came in from Naples, Italy, and he was a pig farmer when he got to Philly. My parents never got beyond the 8th grade because of World War II and the Great Depression, and my mom suffered from anxiety and depression and mental illness. So when I'm 12 or 13, 14 years old, I'm seeing there's something going on in my house. Was when you talk about the emotional side of things, it was really rough. And I would, if I were to say that I got to where I got because of me, that would be the biggest lie, and it would be the biggest hypocrisy, and it would be the biggest injustice in the world to school teachers, to those and my coaches, and any of those. All right, let me get okay. So at any rate,
that was me.
Yeah, I know.
I was trying to see whose number this was. I was like, whose number is this? It's your number. Okay.
Yeah, it's my number. So I said, what's going on here? So at any rate, so to get back, Juan, I got through it because my coaches and teachers, and that's why I did do that and taught school for so many years, because of the impact and they had in my life. But, more than anything, stay true to yourself and block out the noise and keep the people around you. Everybody and anybody there, they have this greatness within you that Dick Vermeil, that we all call as potential. And he says it's the greatest waste there. And Vince Lombardi said it's something you ain't done yet. And, there's a lot of different ways to get through this potential. And as we were saying right from the beginning, I was told by so many people that it was never going to happen. It was what I wanted to do was impossible. But because of hard work, determination, tenacity, grit, and I'm not patting myself. I mean, that was what I had to do. The willingness to make mistakes, the willingness to take a risk, all those kinds of things. I put it all together. That was my formula. But nothing ever beat confidence, staying positive, hard work, and having a great attitude, and surrounding yourself with a good team. I always say it takes teamwork to make the dream work. And here's I'll leave you with this. And this was a great saying that was given to me by my coach. If anybody went to Radnor High School or around Radnor or Interboro High School, my coach gave me this quote when everybody was busting me about being an Eagle. And it was, happy are those who dream dreams and are willing to pay the price to make their dreams come true. And he just looked at me and said, Papale, are you willing to pay the price? Because if not, don't kid yourself. You're just a poser. And I said, Coach, I'm going to give it everything I got. And I did. And I got noticed for it, out hustled everybody, outworked everybody. And needless to say, I had the skills to be a professional football player, was able to make the transition from track and field to the NFL. And it happened. And, but it wasn't luck. I have to tell you that, but again, I'm not pounding myself for doing this and, doing all that. It was, I just outworked the other person. And like Gabby, it was like she was telling Corral, you take advantage of the opportunity, be prepared for it, and just seize it. And you never know when it's going to happen, because it has different smells, different tastes. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities coming out now because of what's going on in the COVID-19. And Mark Wahlberg gave my son Vinny great advice yesterday when he was talking about, Vinny's training all the time, and he finally got a shot in the Canadian League, and he's signing. But Mark said, you know, what are you doing with your time? Are you reading a book? How about learning a language? How about going out and helping somebody? And this is coming from Mark Wahlberg. So there's a lot to be learned. There's going to be a lot of different opportunities out there. A lot of paths are going to be taken that we didn't take before. But more than anything, believe in yourself, stay positive, have a great attitude, and surround yourself with positive people. Like Leah, like Justin, like those that care about you. This young man and young woman to put this together, to care so much about you, to bring achievers like me and Doc and whomever else into this, it is so wonderful. And I'm just you. I'm just you with a dream 45 years ago, and I got the chance. And you know, you never know when it's going to happen. But I'm still chasing the dream, and that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, thank you for that, Vince. Thank you. We're gonna let one more question slide in here. We got Shay. Shay, right. Are you still there?
Say hey. Hey, say.
Yes. Hey, I'm Shay. How you doing? Hey. Good to talk with you, man.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
This is great. Oh, I'm so excited. Justin,
like that.
Thank you so much for putting this together.
Yeah, no problem.
This is surreal.
Okay.
My question for you, Mr. Interborough, is what's your favorite place to hang out in Delco, or go eat, or chill, or what park, or what's your favorite spot in Delaware County?
Well, my favorite spot in Delaware County still is Max's.
Okay.
The Tumble Inn. I go there all the time when I'm in the neighborhood. I used to go, who's that hat next to you? Hey,
this is Carrie.
Hi, Carrie, how are you?
We're both Westchester people.
How are you? There you go. So yeah, so that's one of my favorite spots, and the park right up there off Providence Road. I don't know the name of the park, but
Rose Tree.
Yeah, Rose Tree Park. That's one of my favorite spots. And back in the day, I used to hang out at Media all the time.
Yeah.
On the railroad track, Main Street, you know, Media. Back then, you know, it used to be Media High School down there, but there's some of my favorite places. So
yeah, my aunt went to Media.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's changed so much, you know, because they merged all the high schools. You know, it used to be Lansdowne Hall, and used to be Nether Providence, Swarthmore High, and Media High School, you know, and they all came together now, but the Interborough stayed the same. But you know, Delco is very special in my life, and we tried to integrate Delco. Actually, I tried to get a lot of the movie shot there, but because of this thing called a tax credit, it was required they had to shoot it in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
And because I wanted to shoot some of it in Widener. I wanted to have it in Chester. I wanted to have it around where I was, that the football field that I played on was on McDade Boulevard in Ridley Township.
Right.
You know, right near the McDade Mall, you know, and so I'm a Delco guy true and true. And I had the greatest experiences at Westchester. And I always think, when I think of Westchester, it just brings a smile on my face. And I just remember going as a junior high school kid, going to the football games there, because my sister was going to Westchester. So we used to go there all the time. So it was
okay. Yeah, my mom went to Westchester when it was a normal school, a teacher's college, and my grew up in Ridley Park, and we grew up in like Chester Heights in Garnet Valley.
Oh, sure. No, well, my sister was a teacher. You know, actually, when I was graduating from Interborough, this is a little known story, that I was accepted to go to Westchester as a graduate, as an undergrad. And the freshman football coach was going to, and I was just a real tiny kid. The freshman football coach was going to allow me to try out for the team as basically a free agent, because he was my science teacher when I was in junior high school. and when you know it, so my high school coach, George Corner, I played football and I got my varsity letter one year, and then I played basketball, got my letter, you know, and I had my girlfriend, you know, and I'm just gonna be a dude, you know, as you know, you get to see, you know, what it's like to be a senior, get senioritis. And I had senioritis, and my coach says, he just got the coaching job. He said, Vince, I need your help. He says, you're the fastest kid in school. You need to come out for the track team. I said, I'll get you ready for football, you know, for Westchester. And because him and Coach Beakley were good friends. And when you know what, I wind up a foot and a half off the world's record in the pole vault, and I got a track scholarship to go to St. Joe's, and that's why I didn't become a Ram. But I was really close when I got back there eventually.
Boy, they slapping themselves down.
Well, there was nothing they could have done. Once that spot, you know, with my mom and her illness, and we had no money, and the scholarship being thrown right at you. It happened on Father's Day. What a Father's Day gift that was for my pop. pretty
Yeah.
special.
Right, absolutely.
Cool.
Vince Papale, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
Thanks to
you.
everybody who came out. Yes, you get some claps, absolutely. Vince, we got just about 30 more seconds left. What we've been doing is allowing our speakers to take us out. So if you have like a meaning of life, or if you have some last minute gems you want to parlay on the students, this is your opportunity.
Yeah, well, you know, that was pretty much what I gave you the last couple of seconds again. But you know, the whole thing is that just believe in yourself, surround yourself with good people. Teamwork really does make the dream work. And one thing that my wife Janet and I always believe in, because we work together and we do a lot of stuff as a team. And if you ever Google up, you know, Vince and Janet Papale, there's great pictures. We always say a couple of things. One is understand what you're doing, whatever it is that you're doing in life, and do it with passion and energy and a positive attitude. And the last thing is win the day, win today. Today is the most important day in your life. And if you win today, it's going to give you the momentum to win tomorrow. And if you start getting those wins and you start getting that momentum going, there ain't nothing that's going to stop the train. So that's what I'd say, win the day. And I'll just end it with that.
Absolutely. Vince Papale, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We had an awesome conversation with you. And listen, we really want to make this thing happen in the fall. So we're going to make it happen.
Well, Fly Eagles Fly. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to dedicate the movie Friday night on ESPN at 8 o'clock to the Westchester Rams. You guys, you are an invincible team. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank you so much, Vince.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was great. Thanks. Did a great job, guys. Thank you.